Rob, good to see you. Thanks for doing this.
No, man, you kidding? I love the show. Happy to be on it.
Great. We're talking about what everybody's been up to during the pandemic. It turns out you have been making a television show, shooting since October. I think you guys have been shooting. I've talked to different actors about what that experience has been like, stepping back in with the protocols. What's it been like for you?
Well, I mean, we're doing a show about first responders, and they are on the front lines of this. So it's really important to get that authenticity right. And in terms of the production, I'm just grateful that the show is up and that we can work. It's 300 jobs. It's a lot of families. I don't think people really sometimes appreciate all the behind the scenes people that work on a show, and they get to support their families during this, which is great because a lot of people don't get to. It's been tough, but the show's great. I actually think it's in a weird way made us focus more. And this season, I think, is everything is just stepped up a whole other level.
So for people who are just coming on board, maybe for season 2, we're going to have to back up and get through season 1. Just lay out the premise a little bit, if you can, of this New York City firefighter who was there on 9/11 and kind of uproots and takes on this new challenge in Austin.
Yeah, my character is the only survivor in his firehouse in New York on 9/11. And when a firehouse in Texas loses all of their people in a grain explosion, they ask him if he could come and help rebuild the firehouse because he's been through it. So he relocates to Austin. So you have this sort of New Yorker fish out of water in Austin, Texas, rebuilding the firehouse. And that's really the premise. But more than anything, we were talking before we came on the air about how we grew up watching Emergency and all those great, procedurals. And I love those shows, but this is a Ryan Murphy version. Ryan Murphy of Nip Tuck, Ryan Murphy of American Horror Story, Ryan Murphy of Glee. So there's that added element that you just don't get in this genre.
So how do you explain the Ryan Murphy thing? Whatever that is, what does that mean to you as an actor and somebody who's executive producing with him?
Well, as an executive producer, if I could explain it, then I would be as successful as Ryan Murphy. But I will take a crack at it. I think it comes from a very specific point of view. I think all good movies, TVs, books, music that are great, if you dig, will have one thing in common, and that there is a very particular point of view. It's not generic. It doesn't feel made by committee. It doesn't feel made by the network or the studio or the sponsors. It's not trying to tick every box. It's this really strong point of view. And Tim Minear is the writes the show, really. Ryan created it with him. And between the two of them, they just have a worldview that's different, which is, let's take a genre we love, heroic firefighters and paramedics. We love everything there is about it, but let's turn it a little bit upside down and make a different iteration of it. Let's make it a little bit, not campy, because I hate that word actually, but let's make it a little bit larger than life while at the same time making it super believable.
Yeah, and it's his range, which I could say the same about you, from doing a show like Glee, as you say, to pulling off a show about firefighters in Texas, is kind of extraordinary. So there is that thread of quality and that voice that goes through it. When they first came to you with this, because it is a little bit different than your previous work, what was your first thought? Was it, oh, it's Ryan Murphy and I get to play a firefighter, I'm in?
Well, Ryan Murphy and I have been trying to work together since Nip Tuck. I love Nip Tuck. I watched every episode of it, fell in love with it, asked for a meeting with this Ryan Murphy guy, sat down at the lunch meeting and went through chapter and verse about why I loved the character of Dr. Christian Troy. And at the end of it, the color had drained from his face. And he said, well, of course you love it. I wrote it for you. And your agents wouldn't give it to you.
What? Oh, no way. And you didn't know that?
I did not know that. And here I am at home going, oh my God, this is like, I should be doing that. That's what I should be doing. And so ever since then, we've tried to find something. I was going to be in the first season of American Horror Story, and I was unavailable. Dylan McDermott did it. We talked about 911, the original. But I've been on another show every year. This was the first year I was free, and the first year he had this idea. And they called me up and said, Here's the idea. Firefighter who cares as much about his skincare regimen as he does fighting fires. I go, I'm in. I'm in.
That's amazing. I did not know that about Nip Tuck. That's incredible.
Yeah, and if you look at it, you can see. You can see I
Yeah.
could have done that part. It would have been great.
Totally. So for the fans who did watch season 1, without giving too much away, where do we find Captain Strand? What can we expect?
The biggest surprise for I think for the show is for people who love West Wing. There is a reunion I think the West Wing fans are going to love. And it's me, my character in the West Wing, Sam Seaborn's longtime ill-begotten love, Lisa the Call Girl, Lori the Call Girl, played by Lisa Edelstein. Lisa Edelstein is now on our show playing my ex-wife, who is named Gwyneth, after Brad Falchuk, our co-executive producer's wife,
Right.
Gwyneth Paltrow.
Right.
There's a lot, again, synergy. It's our middle name. A lot of synergy going on.
There's a father-son element to this show that's really cool that I know you sort of bring to the set with you, as your son is one of the writers on the show. That just must be unbelievable to have raised a young man and watched him do well in school and go to a great college and start his career, and to be able to sit next to him in a room and work on a project of this scope must be unbelievable.
You know, it's a whole other level of pride. And I know that there are people out there who are fortunate enough to be able to work with their sons or daughters, and it's so special. I think my favorite thing about it, and we'll be doing a scene that he wrote, and afterwards, you know, you huddle with the director and the writer, and you talk about, you know, how it went, and he'll give me a note, and he'll be like, so Rob, I think, and it makes me, it's like one part kind of makes me sad. One part kind of feels like, is it disrespectful?
Right.
And then the other part is, it's kind of really cool. But my real takeaway from it is I listen to him like he's not my son. Like I value his input in a way that I would value the input for any coworker who I had a ton of respect for. And that will dawn on me. It will be like, oh my God, that was the kid I was changing diapers.
Right, right.
So yeah, his name is John Owen Lowe, and we have a really good time. His brother, incidentally, is a lawyer now, and I'm hoping I don't ever have to work with him.
I'm going to stay out of his field. I think that's
Exactly.
pretty wise. Now, does he ever call you Rob off the set, or is this a new thing that just shocked you when he came up to you?
I'm a huge fan of like anthropological studies of human behavior, and like I'm Margaret Mead with a different gender and bone structure. And I've noticed in my studies that language is changing, and there's a thing with 20-somethings where they don't call their parents mom and dad.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if it's because we're living together again, but I've seen it not only with my own kids, but I've seen it with their friends. And it's even gotten to the point that they don't call my wife, their mother, Sheryl. They don't even call her Sheryl. They use the name of her company as her name. So it'll be like, Rob, I just got off the phone with Sheryl Lowe Designs, and she was 5 minutes late. What the hell's going on?
You know what? I've noticed that too, and I didn't know if it was just the families that were different than mine growing up. My kids are too young still, but I noticed that too, and they're in their 20s or early 30s, and it's, hey, Mike, and Mike's his dad, and I'm like,
I'm obsessed
what is
with
that?
when phrases come into our vernacular out of the blue. Like when did it become too much work to say the word family, and it became fam? How's the fam? I see when people ask me how's the fam, here's my takeaway. They don't care.
Right.
They don't really care. It's just something they're saying. If they say how's the family, they care.
Well, that's sort of an extension of text culture, don't you think? Sometimes it's harder to write the abbreviation than to just write the word thanks, or to write YOU, to find the U and all that. I don't quite get it. And we both, by the way, right now sound 100 years old.
I'm the guy. Listen, I'm doubling and tripling down on being the meme of the old man yelling at the clouds. And by the way, the fact that I even know that's a thing, I think I should get some cred.
Cred. There you go. See?
Yeah.
There's your abbreviation.
LOL.
So I love hearing you talk about your family because it seems to me from the outside is like you have achieved, and I think you've worked at it, some semblance of normalcy. A long, happy marriage,
Yeah.
successful, happy kids. Is that a product of the way you came up so differently when you were 18 years old, becoming a movie star?
Thank you. That's a wonderful compliment. I think it was, we all want to recreate what we didn't have. Our parents are around to make mistakes that we're going to learn from. That's what they're there for. I know in some way, albeit my kids seem to be great, I know in some way we've screwed them up, my wife and I. There's no question.
Yeah.
Parents can't help but do it unwittingly. Some obviously are really egregious, obviously. But even the ones who are present, who are paying attention, who are doing the best, are going to do stuff that their kids are going to react to and try to do better. I went through, listen, I was a teen idol young movie star and an alcoholic and a lot of money, and it was a great mix. What could possibly go wrong? And I lived a big life. I loved it. I don't regret any of it. But when I was done, I was done.
Yeah.
I was done. And what seemed great to me then was, the things that people should want, which is, consistency and family and, being together with people and, not needing to live a big life anymore. And, I made that sort of paradigm shift a long time ago. And this is what you work for. And this is when it pays off.
Do you look back on that guy and recognize him if you see him in a movie or you hear a story about him somewhere in a magazine? Do you remember that guy?
Barely.
Yeah.
Barely. It is legitimately another lifetime ago. I've been sober way longer than half my life. The thing that really blows my mind is I look back at that 18-year-old in The Outsiders and realize my kids are way, 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 way older than that. I would be worried putting them now in that position. It's just, look, nobody's going to do a pity party or have a telethon for all those suffering 18-year-old movie stars. I get it. I get like how everybody goes through their time in the barrel. Justin Bieber or whoever it is now, it's always going to be somebody every 10 years. And you either come out on the other side of it way, way, way better or way, way, way worse, I think.
And not everybody comes through it, as you know well. I'm sure you're friends with some of them who haven't come through it. So how did you survive that so well and have such longevity and done such good work on different planes, whether it's movies or you've got a podcast now or the Parks and Rec, all these places you pop up and you've stayed around and been welcomed by people. I know you had valleys in between your sort of teen idol years and your sobriety and everything else, but how did you survive? What do you chalk it up to?
Well, listen, recovery, sobriety, therapy. I'm a big believer in all that stuff. Work on myself, hard work, but you have to want to do it. That's always the message. I do a lot of work with adolescents who are struggling with drugs and alcohol and their parents. And that's the thing I always tell them is that, unfortunately, no one can get healthy for their job or for their relationship or because of their court case or because of mom or dad or sister or brother. They can only do it when they want to do it. Honestly, it's really simple and it can be very demoralizing, but it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen for you. It only happens if they want to do it. So I wanted to do it. I was done. I was ready. I did it and, got into recovery, and recovery really does work for people who work it. And then in terms of my career, I'm always trying to find something new to keep me interested. And the podcast that I'm doing now called Literally, that's its name. By the way, you can get it wherever you get your podcasts.
It's great.
I had to explain to my dad, who's 80, what a podcast was.
I bet.
He thought it was like you had to go into a pod. I think he was worried about an actual pod being involved. And I was like, no, you can just type Google.
Yeah.
Google, you can find on that computer you have. And Google Rob Lowe podcast. It's going to come up, and then you just download it. Yeah. By the way, don't have to pay for it.
Right. It's a radio show on the internet. Yeah.
I think he was more excited that he didn't have to pay for it.
Yeah.
Than that I was actually on it. But
but that's such a good format for you though. Just as a talker and a storyteller and a guy who listens and has a sense of humor. It's really good. It's Team Coco, and they do great stuff. And you just sit down for an hour with a buddy of yours, and we get that fly on the wall experience. Did you get the podcast world when it was pitched to you? Was it something you were interested in doing?
I honestly didn't, because I am, like I said, the meme of the guy, the old man looking at the clouds. I am that guy. I was like, this podcast thing, what of it? But what I really did get was that and that's one of the things that's great about your show, is for the most part, the long conversation interview is dead.
Yeah.
You used to be able to go on Johnny Carson and talk. Now, if you go on a talk show, they want you to play pin the tail on the donkey.
Right.
Howard Stern is a great influence on me in terms of his conversations. What you're working in the same field. Joe Rogan does it well. Where, look, if I have Michael Jordan on the podcast, I don't need to ask him about winning 5 rings. I don't. I want to know if he's ever seen a UFO. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
That's
yes.
what I'm interested in.
Totally. Before I let you go, I have to ask you something very important that you disclosed, that you have original reporting that suggests Prince Harry may currently be sporting a ponytail. Can you fill in the details here?
Well, listen, I appreciate the sensitivity of this issue. And I don't want to stake my long-term credibility as a celebrity stalker on it. However, in the glimpse, and it was a glimpse, through the VIP, sexy, smoke-filled glass of the vehicle, which I will not name the type of vehicle, because I am cognizant of the security threat.
Sure. I
think the dude was wearing a ponytail.
So a big red ponytail in the back?
Well, here's what it was. Let's get specific. Let's go on a deep dive. The man's got good hair.
Sure.
His brother may be the king of England, but for my money, Harry's got something better than his brother, hair. And there was like a real tightness going through that all I can think of, if it's that tight on the side, it's got to be being held back by something.
Right.
Ponytail.
Wow. And are you sure it was him? It wasn't just a red-haired dude in a nice car driving around Southern California?
No, he's my neighbor.
Okay.
He's my neighbor, and he turned into the driveway. So I know it was him. The question was, is there a ponytail involved? And I think one thing I know right now, the British paparazzi are all over this one. I've put blood in the water. Yeah. There's going to be $500,000 bounty on the first photo of Harry with a ponytail.
Well, you'll have to come back and update us on your reporting, Rob, because this is fascinating.
Yes, I will.
Stuff.
I take it very seriously.
Rob, it's so good to see you. Congratulations on season 2, the podcast. Everything you do is always fun, man. It's great. Good to see you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
Hey, thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Find your favorite recipes, celebrity interviews, uplifting stories, shop our favorite deals, and so much more with the Today app. Download it now.